Before we get into the multiplication of rationals, we should really understand just what is a rational and how it tends to behave. So, if we look at rational, we can see that ratio is actually inside. And a ratio really is just a comparison of two numbers, usually as fractions. A fun little fact is that rationals are actually known as the quotients in the real number system. So that's why I use a fancy Q as its symbol. So going with that, if I have any number m and I divide it by any number n, just as long as n is non-zero, it's called a rational number. I'm comparing two integers in the numerator and the denominator, and it's written as a fraction. So we have a couple examples. So 3 over 2, or 3 halves, 1/4, or 1 over 4, and then 14/19, or 14 over 19. So now that we are familiar with rationals, let's talk about multiplication and its properties. Just like addition, multiplication has an identity. And students are pretty quick with identifying self with identity. So if I begin with 3 flowers, and I want to be the only person with 3 flowers at the end, how many groups of flowers will I ultimately have? 1. So 1 is what we call the multiplicative identity. Any time that I have a number and it is multiplied by 1, it's going to give you the same number in return. So you can think about this like groups. If I have a number and I only want one group of that number, it's going to be the same number in the end. And also, just like addition, multiplication has an inverse property as well. And we still use the inverse to obtain the identity. And it varies with every number, especially in the rational numbers. So, again, if I begin with 3 flowers, and my goal is to end with 1 flower, which is the identity, what do I have to do? Well, I need to take my three flowers, and I need to create and put them into 3 groups. So let's connect this inverse idea with the opposite. What is the opposite of multiplication? Well, it's division. So I'm going to take my 3 flowers, and I'm going to spread them into 3 groups. Each group is going to end up holding 1 flower. This is what we call the multiplicative inverse. And usually, in more cases than not, multiplicative inverse is not used, but reciprocal is. It's a little bit more, I guess, a formal word to use. So, when a number is divided by itself or multiplied by its inverse, the answer will always be 1, which is the identity. And when you have that scenario drawn up, it's called a 1 pair.